Hello and welcome back to Linux Academy. This video is all about dictionaries. Dictionaries are essentially key value pairs. They are similar to lists that we've seen in the previous chapter, but differ because you can have any combination of characters as the key, and the lookup is extremely fast. Let's set up a dictionary for a traffic signal. To initialize the dictionary, you can do name of the variable traffic signal equals curly braces. Now we're going to add the elements. Traffic signal has red, yellow, and green light. So we're going to do traffic signal, square brackets, red equals stop. Similarly, traffic signal, yellow, about to be red. And thirdly, traffic signal, green equals go. Simple enough. Now you can also write all of that in one single line. I could do traffic signal equals curly braces, red, colon, stop, comma, yellow, colon, about to stop, about to be red, and green, colon, go. To access an item in the dictionary, just do print, name of the dictionary, in this case traffic signal, and the item name, red. Dictionaries are very useful as counters because they can ensure that all the keys are unique. To see how that works, let's do 1,000 coin tosses and figure out how many were heads and how many were tails. And now, let's set up a dictionary that contains the counts for heads and tails and initialize them to a 0. Dictionary name equals heads, colon 0, tails, colon 0. Let's use the range function. So do for I in range 0 to 1000. Then use the random.randint function to generate our tosses. Toss equals random.randint 0, 2. And as before, we will consider 1 as heads and 0 as tails. I could say if toss equals 1, results heads, I'm going to increment that by 1. Else, toss which is equal to 0, I want to increment results tails by 1. Let's iterate through the keys of this dictionary and print them out one by one. You can use a for statement for that as well. For toss in results dot keys. Results dot keys will return one key at a time from my dictionary result and assign it to toss. And next, just print out each of those tosses one at a time. Do print coin face %s showed up %s times. Do toss and results toss. So tails showed up 656 times, heads shows up 344 times. I could also just print the dictionary by using the print function. Let's do a real life example. On our CentOS server, we will find out which users are active and how many processes they are running. We're going to use subprocess. We've used that before. Let's set up our users dictionary. And using subprocess, call the command ps-ef. For those not familiar with ps-ef, let's go to our Linux box and type ps-ef. PS gives you details about all the active processes on your system. The users, the process IDs, the time they were ran on, the file they're using, etc. Let's go back to our Python shell. At this point, the variable ps-cmd is going to be a string that contains the output we see here. Now, like before, let's split the lines up. For line in ps-cmd dot split lines, I'm using the 1 colon in square brackets to skip the first line, which contains the headings. The user ID was the first thing on every line. Using the split function, I'm going to create a list of words in that line and return the first word. Using an if statement, we are going to see if the user actually exists in the dictionary. If it does, then we're going to increment that user by 1. If the user does not exist in the dictionary, then we're going to add it to the dictionary. To just print out all the active users, we can use the keys function, which returns a list of the keys, and use a join to join them together and print them all the screen. Now let's do the counts per user. We do for user, comma, processes, user, print, but user is running processes, the user variable and the process count variable. In a couple of lines, we figured out all the users that are active on the system and how many processes they're running. Again, I could just print users and get that same data. To delete a key from a dictionary, like in this example, if I didn't want to see all the processes the user root was running, the delete function can be used. And now users does not have any data about the key root. Lastly, just like lists, if you try to access a key in a dictionary that does not exist, you get an error. To print users John was not in there, I get an error. The correct way of doing this, like we've already seen in this example, is users.get, put John in there. And you can even have the get function return a value in case the key is not found. Do print users.get John is not in there. Knowing this, we can optimize our script that we wrote previously. For line in ps command dot split lines user equals line dot split users user equals users dot get user comma 0 plus 1. Same as before, just in 3 lines. That's it for this video. Go ahead and mark it complete and go to the next one.